All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are cracking open one of the most fascinating cold cases in all of paleontology. We're diving headfirst into the story of Spinosaurus. And believe me, this dinosaur has had more identity changes than a spy in a blockbuster movie. And that brings us to the big question, the real mystery here. How did this land-based super predator, the one that famously took down a T-Rex on the big screen, somehow turn into this, a creature that scientists now call a giant swimming river monster?
For like a whole decade, this was the Spinosaurus we all knew, and let's be honest, we're terrified of. You know, the two-legged killing machine cooked up by Hollywood, it was basically designed from the ground up to be bigger, meaner, and just plain scarier than T-Rex.
But, and this is a huge but, science now tells a totally different story. And it's a story that took over 100 years to figure out. And what it reveals is an animal that is way weirder and more specialized than anything Hollywood could have dreamed up.
Okay, so let's get into it. The story here doesn't start with some amazing, complete skeleton. Nope. It begins with just a handful of baffling clues. Clues that, for decades, actually sent scientists looking in all the wrong places.
So, for the longest time, all anyone had to go on were its teeth. And these teeth were, well, they were confusing. They weren't like the serrated steak knives you see on a T-Rex. Not at all. These were smooth, cone-shaped teeth. So, back in the 1840s, the famous paleontologist Sir Richard Owen took a look and said, "Yep, that's a crocodile." A little later, some other experts figured, must be some kind of giant fish. Absolutely no one, and I mean no one, guessed they belonged to one of the biggest meat-eating dinosaurs of all time.
This is where the story gets really interesting and kind of tragic. We're talking about the very first attempt to piece this animal together, an image that was created and then, poof, lost to history. It left Spinosaurus as basically a ghost for 50 years. So, flash forward to 1912. Finally, a partial skeleton turns up in Egypt, and the paleontologist, a German guy named Ernst Stromer, he knew right away he had something completely new on his hands. It was a theropod, sure, but unlike any other. He called it Spinosaurus aegyptiacus, the Egyptian spine lizard, and for a good reason. It had these absolutely massive spines coming off its back, some of them 2 meters long.
But you gotta remember, the skeleton was incomplete. He had to fill in the gaps. And being a good scientist, he just used the best information he had to work with at the time.
So what did he come up with? Well, Stromer drew Spinosaurus in this kangaroo pose, kind of standing upright with its tail dragging on the ground. Now, I know that looks super weird to us today, but back then, that was just how they thought all the big meat-eaters stood. Yep, even T-Rex was imagined this way for a while.
So this amazing, one-of-a-kind skeleton, the only one in the entire world, mind you, and basically Stromer's life's work, it was put on display in a museum in Munich for everyone to see. It was the crown jewel.
And then, World War II happened. Now, Stromer was known for being against the Nazi regime, and he became desperate to protect this fossil. He knew it was irreplaceable. He knew the museum could be a target, and he practically begged the museum director to move the bones somewhere safe.
But his requests were denied. The museum's director, who had ties to the Nazi party, just refused, flat out. And then it happened. One night in April of 1944, Allied bombs hit Munich, and the museum and the world's only Spinosaurus skeleton were destroyed. Just like that, the physical evidence was gone. It vanished. For 50 years, Spinosaurus was a ghost, a legend known only from old drawings and photos. The case went completely cold. So with no new fossils to study, Stromer's old-school kangaroo-style drawing was all anyone had. That was Spinosaurus. Until Hollywood came knocking, and they needed a new monster. You see, for Jurassic Park 3, they needed a new bad guy, something to top the T-Rex, and they picked Spinosaurus. Now get this, even at the time, most scientists were pretty sure it was a fish-eater, but did Hollywood care? Nope. They completely ignored that and turned it into this hyper-aggressive, land-based killing machine that could literally snap a T-Rex's neck. And that image? It stuck. It became what everyone thought Spinosaurus was.
And so, for 13 years, that movie monster was king. That two-legged, aggressive brute, that was Spinosaurus in everyone's mind. Until a new discovery.
One that started with a few bones in a cardboard box from the Moroccan desert changed the game completely.
So this paleontologist named Nazar Ibrahim and his team, they unveiled a new skeleton. And it didn't just challenge the Hollywood monster, it absolutely shattered it. The back legs were shockingly short. I mean, so short, there's no way this thing was chasing down prey on land. It was built low to the ground, front heavy, and probably walked on all fours. The T-Rex killer was officially dead. This was something new, something built for the water.
The scientific world was, well, it was rocked. This new body shape was just so weird, so completely different, that a lot of paleontologists were skeptical. They started asking, hey, are we sure these bones even belong to the same animal? They were found in different places. People were wondering if this was a real dinosaur or just a Frankenstein's monster cobbled together from spare parts.
So the debate just raged on for years. Was this new river creature the real deal, or was it a huge mistake? The identity of Spinosaurus was up for grabs again. There was only one way to know for sure: find more evidence. So Ibrahim's team headed back out to the desert, searching for that final, definitive clue.
And in 2020, they hit the jackpot. They found the smoking gun. Buried out there in the sand was the one piece of the puzzle that could end the debate, once and for all: the tail. And oh man, it was like nothing anyone had ever seen on a big predatory dinosaur. It was tall, it was flat. It was basically a giant paddle.
That tail was the final nail in the coffin for the land monster idea. I mean, a tail like that is an engine. It's built for one single purpose: to generate massive power in the water, just like a crocodile's. This was it. This was the definitive proof, the ultimate aquatic adaptation.
So, there you have it. Case closed. Spinosaurus was never a T-Rex killer. It was something way cooler, way more unique. A super specialized, semi-aquatic hunter. A giant river monster that was perfectly designed for life in the huge rivers of Cretaceous North Africa.
What an incredible story, right? From a few misidentified teeth, to a lost skeleton, to a Hollywood monster, and finally, to a scientific marvel. It just goes to show you that our picture of the past is never finished, it's never set in stone. Science is a story that's constantly being updated. And it really makes you wonder, what other huge discoveries are out there, just waiting to change everything we think we know?